my mom and I had a falling out because of some weight I had lost over the last 18 months since the pandemic. Now, my mom says that she feels sorry for me because she thinks that I'm lonely, which is not true, actually. And I'm already missing out from the pandemic-related lockdowns. And now I'm going to sacrifice my only pleasure in life, food. And she felt sorry for me. And, okay, she can feel that way. It's not true. But we had a falling out about that because that's that's the sentiment she keeps holding. And I can't have somebody impute negativity into my life like that. So I haven't talked to her all holiday season. I hope to talk to her after the new year because my Christmas spirits are very important to me. And I want to point out something that I discovered during the pandemic. So during the pandemic, I was obviously worried about how I would deal with all the pandemic-related stresses, right? A lot of people are stress eating. We got to admit that. A lot of people are stress drinking and doing a lot of things that they'll probably come to regret after it is all said and done. But I actually used it in the pandemic lockdown in a very different way. See, that first week we locked down, I went on, if I remember correctly, a 48-hour fast at the beginning of the pandemic to mourn all that we had lost, right? A lot of people had lost their lives, they had lost their livelihoods, and I went on a 48-hour fast. Now, what really impressed me was how much I was able to get done. You know, when I was hungry, I wanted to distract myself, right? And I started to write, I wrote an AI for the game of backgammon that first week that we were locked down. And to this day, I'm still working on it. It's the #1 backgammon AI in the world by quite a large margin, actually. And I learned a lot during the time. And even though we were locked down, I networked with a lot of people. So that first week, we were only able to order takeout and delivery at restaurants. And I used to rarely eat out because eating out is tricky for me because I have dietary restrictions as it is. Now, one thing I love about fasting is that at the end of the fast, when you do break it, your sense of taste is significantly enhanced. And I remember using that as an opportunity to try new foods. Now, going out to the restaurant and mentioning my dietary restrictions is very challenging. But I was lonely, and so I decided to take that on. And so it allowed me to practice something I had never thought about. I networked with the right people. I wrote a number of computer games. Obviously, my hours at work have been cut a lot, so I had to apply for a million different jobs, right? Now, one thing that really pushed me to really ramp up getting over my eating addiction disorder was that I used to be very insistent on eating when I wanted to eat. I'd be in the middle of a meal, the phone would ring, and I would be really edgy as I talked to the person on the other end of the line, right? And very annoying because, like I said, I was applying for dozens of jobs every week. The phone would ring from one of the job applications that I sent in, which should be a nice thing. Unfortunately, I was thinking about getting back to my meal, and it was just gnawing on me, and I would ruin conversations over that. And that's when I decided I really need to take better control of my eating. And fast forward a year and a half later, nowadays I actually love being hungry. I had a computer project that I had a hard time getting around to doing. Distractions, I'd find other better things to do, or I would start a dozen projects and never seem to wrap anything up, right? So last week I decided to starve myself, and all of a sudden I come up with all these interesting ideas because my mind needs to be distracted from the fact that I'm hungry, right? Hunger has been a great pusher for me to get things done, right? Because, I need to find something to distract myself. And lately, when I get hungry, the first thing I think about isn't food anymore. It's my computer games. It's, oh my God, how do I talk to this girl that I know? It's, how do I, what can I do in my next job application to make myself sound a whole lot better? Hunger has been related to those things, not eating, right? What satiates my hunger is distraction now, right? And unfortunately, I do need to correct that because I'm losing a lot more weight than I had wanted to. And It's funny, I hardly, unless I'm super, super hungry, as in like 36 hours no eating, I rarely think about food first when I get hungry, right? It's how do I talk to people? What projects should I do next? Maybe I can clean up the house. I have a landlord who sometimes isn't especially tidy, and I get hungry. Oh, let's clean house, right? Except that my landlord is a little bit on the crazy side of things, and he sometimes doesn't appreciate that I clean house 24/7, right? But it satisfies my hunger, and it's kind of funny how it has turned out over the last 2 years. Hunger has become a very beautiful feeling in my world.